Good evening, parents. We are so excited to be here today to share with you about our Virtual Pathways program. This program offers our CFISD students even more opportunities, flexibility, and options right here in CFISD. Before we get started, if anyone would like access to the Spanish translation of this presentation, it is available on our website, virtual.cfisd.net, under resources in the Spanish version of our website. So if you go to our website, virtual.cfisd.net, and change to the Spanish version, under resources, there is the Spanish version of this presentation so that you can follow along. My name is Dr. Meredith Akers, and I am the Director of Virtual Pathways for CFISD. And
good evening. I am Jill English, the Director of Instruction for the program. Throughout our presentation today, you may have questions. We have tried to highlight the questions we received since announcing this exciting new program for our district. However, if you have a question, you can use this QR code to share it with us. We will review all questions and add questions and answers to our FAQ page on our website. If you'd like, you can go ahead and scan this QR code now, just in case you come up with a question while we're presenting. We will also share this QR code again at the end of the presentation.
Thank you, Miss English. So we're going to start with the biggest question: what virtual learning pathways is CFISD offering? We are so excited to be launching 3 virtual learning pathways for the 26-27 school year: CFISD Virtual Academy, CFISD Flex Learning, and CFISD supplemental courses. Launching these 3 pathways allows CFISD to offer a comprehensive suite of virtual options: a full-time academy, flexible scheduling within our traditional campuses, and a tuition-based supplemental opportunity for our students. These options provide lots of reasons for our families to choose CFISD. Now let's take a closer look at each of these 3 pathways.
First off, we have CFISD Virtual Academy. The purpose of the Virtual Academy is to provide a complete online option for students seeking a non-traditional learning environment. It's primarily asynchronous, which means lessons will be pre-recorded and there's not a daily class meeting time. This allows students flexibility to set their own pacing and the order in which they complete their coursework. There will be some synchronous activities within the courses for each class as the students go along, including live instruction online with their class and small group sessions for individualized support. The CFISD Virtual Academy will function as a program within CFISD schools, similar to College Academy and the Brodegum Center, which means students in the Virtual Academy remain a student at their home campus and graduate with their home campus. Students in CFISD Virtual Academy may participate face-to-face in UIL and extracurriculars at their campus of residence. It's available for 9th through 12th graders and 4th and 5th grade students. We do have plans to expand to middle school in 27-28 as interest and enrollment grows. Course offerings will include all core courses, as well as PE, art, and music for our 4th and 5th graders, and all courses needed for high school students to graduate. Advanced courses such as advanced K-level, AP, and dual credit courses are being offered, along with electives and CT options for our high schoolers. All course offerings can be found on our website. With the proposed course offerings, there are 7 pathways for a high school student to earn an endorsement on their diploma as a fully virtual student in the CFISD Virtual Academy. All right, so here are the 4 endorsements that are available by taking classes entirely through Virtual Academy. As you can see, we have multiple ways to earn 4 out of the 5 possible endorsements, with plans to add public services in the future. For more details, please refer to the High School Course Offerings book available on the district website.
Our second pathway is CFISD Flex Learning. With flex learning, students spend the majority of their day at their brick and mortar high school campus and complete 1 to 2 of their classes online asynchronously. Remember how Miss English told you that means that's at a time of their choosing. So they're going to complete all of their flex coursework at a time of their choosing. They're never going to log on at the same time as their teacher or class with flex learning. Whereas in the virtual academy, they do have some times where they log on at the same time. The purpose of flex learning is to offer flexibility for our students that are balancing extracurriculars or jobs or unique family schedules. Flex learning is available to our 11th and 12th grade students in the 26-27 school year. It's important to note, as of fall 2022, over 54% of all college students took at least one online course. So this opportunity provides our students with the opportunity to take a virtual course in the safety of their high school environment with a high school teacher before they go off to college and experience those online courses at the collegiate level. Flex learning branches into 2 categories from here: leaving school early or arriving to school late, or staying on campus for a study hall to take their flex learning courses. So let's look at that first option. That's where students have the ability to either arrive late or leave early from their high school campus and complete their online course or courses at the time of their choosing. But it is important to note, even with flex learning, even though they have a lot of flexibility, these students do have to log on at some point each school day for attendance purposes. It is very important that students log into each of their Virtual Pathways courses daily and participate in some way to be counted as present for their virtual courses, just like they have to attend each class at their brick and mortar face-to-face campus to get credit for being present at each one of their classes in high school. Flex learning courses will be scheduled at either the beginning or the end of a student's instructional day. So for example, if a student wants to take one flex learning course, their course would be scheduled in their school schedule for first period or 7th period. Or if they want to take 2 flex learning courses, it will show up in their schedule as 1st and 2nd period or 6th and 7th period. However, even though the course may appear on their schedule, for example, at 6th and 7th period, students can complete the coursework at a time of their choosing to provide that flexibility. So if a student has, let's say, a job at Chick-fil-A, they might leave school after 5th period because they have 2 flex learning courses scheduled for 6th and 7th, go to their shift, work at Chick-fil-A, and then complete that coursework later in the evening. As long as they log in sometime that school day, they have met the attendance requirement. And of course, they also want to meet all due dates set in the course, just like a face-to-face course. The other option students have with flex learning is to stay on campus for their online course and attend a supervised study hall to complete their online coursework. You might wonder, why would a student choose that? Well, this can help students with scheduling conflicts have access to needed or preferred courses. For example, if a student has a scheduling conflict between, let's say, an AP level course or a very high level dual credit course that they want to take, but maybe they also are in the top band or the top choir. And sometimes those are only offered one period. So if those are both only offered the same period, the student has to choose. But with flex learning, if we've offered that course, the student can choose their elective, that preferred elective that they love, and then a different period of the day, they can take the conflict, but still stay on campus and complete that in a study hall. Campus staff supervising study hall would be able to help them with like course navigation, but they wouldn't actually be teaching the class because they're going to be learning through the virtual teacher. So through their computer, they would actually be getting that course instruction. Again, CFISD Flex Learning is available to only 11th and 12th graders. Our launch year next year, 26-27.
All right, the third option for Virtual Pathways is our supplemental courses. This pathway allows high school students to take 1 or 2 courses online outside of the scheduled school day. The purpose of this is to accelerate graduation, make room for an additional elective at school, or earn extra credit recovery for previously failed courses. So here's some examples. So a student wants to take a 4-year elective such as band, choir, FFA, athletics, or if you have a student who will be a junior next year who's dreaming of taking that additional elective their senior year, they can take a senior level supplemental course their junior year to make room for that additional elective their senior year. Or for incoming freshmen who want a year-long course but need to meet that PACE requirement, that student can take PACE supplementally to make room for a full year course at their brick and mortar high school, taking PACE virtually after school hours at a time of their choosing. Supplemental courses will be tuition-based, similar to summer school, as these are courses students are choosing to take outside of the school day. They're available to any high school student who qualifies for the courses offered. Supplemental courses. The cost of our supplemental courses closely mirrors original credit summer school costs. For enrolled CFISD students, CFISD supplemental courses will cost $295 per semester per course. Students enrolled in a different school district in Texas can still access CFISD supplemental courses and add these credits to their Texas high school transcripts. For students outside of CFISD, the cost is $350 per course per semester. Enrollment for supplemental courses is already open now through July 27th or until each course is full. So the sooner you sign up, the more likely you are to get the supplemental course your student desires.
Now let's take a look. One more thing. We wanted to make sure we said all virtual courses are real, quality, rigorous CFISD classes. Not only are we going to follow the same curriculum as our face-to-face campuses, but we're going to follow the same pacing guide. So your students are going to be learning the same thing at the same time as if they were sitting in a face-to-face class. Our virtual courses count on a student's transcript and they count toward their GPA. So grades for the Virtual Academy, Flex Learning, and supplemental courses all show up on report cards, progress reports, and in Home Access Center, and they count toward the no pass, no play rule. So if your student signs up, let's say, for a supplemental course, that's an additional course. They take 7 courses in high school on their normal instructional day. If they're adding an 8th course to take a supplemental course, it's not something to blow off and go, oh, let's just take this for fun and see how it goes. It's going to count toward their GPA. It's going to show up on their transcript, and it could keep them from participating in their favorite elective if they're not passing. So it is a real course that they need to take seriously, and it's just as rigorous as if they were taking it face-to-face. Now let's take a look at a day in the life of a CFISD virtual student. First off, let's talk about Virtual Academy and the high school student schedules and what they include. Virtual Academy high school student schedules include pre-recorded videos and assignments that students can complete at a time and place of their choosing. But remember, again, it is very important for attendance purposes that they log on and participate in some part of each of their courses each day. However, students can, this is the flexible part, they can work ahead or catch up as needed depending on their schedules, your schedules, as long as they log in daily and meet all due dates. Each of our fully virtual CFISD Virtual Academy courses includes one live lesson offered every other week. This is for high school students. So if you have an elementary student, we're going to get to that in just a second. Their schedule is slightly different. For our high schoolers, it's mostly asynchronous. They're going to watch videos at the time of their choosing, do work at the time of their choosing. But once every other week for each of their 7 classes, they will need to log on at a specific time for their live lesson with their classmates and their teacher. These live lessons are available twice each time they're offered, once in the morning and once in the afternoon. Students will need to log in to only one of those. They're not required at both because it's the same lesson. But we're offering it AM and PM so that they can choose the one that fits their schedule best. We know that a lot of students that are interested and a lot of families that are interested in the fully virtual academy, it's because you have complex schedules and need to get to doctor's appointments or sport events or other outside things that your student is involved in. The reason that we chose to offer once every other week and offer it twice is based on student feedback. We've spoken to some students that are already participating in online schools around the state, and those programs that they're involved in either had, for high school students, daily logins or no logins at all with their class. And so we really are hoping that this gives our students the best of both worlds. Lots of flexibility without the loss of that human interaction and the class meeting together at the same time. Since the class is going to meet every other week, this means that a full-time virtual high school student has 7 virtual classes. That means they'll have 4 live classes one week and 3 live classes the next week, and it'll alternate that way throughout the year. And then the rest of their course content, they're not only going to learn from their teacher one time every other week. They will have pre-recorded lessons and other course content. Students are, in addition to those live lessons, students are invited to participate in live school-sponsored activity groups that our teachers will lead, such as like crochet club or photography club. We aren't sure yet all the creative things that our teachers will come up with to offer, but we know we want to offer social opportunities for our students who are fully virtual, both online and in person, which is why we are also going to invite our students to come up to our campus and work on their coursework in a quiet, distraction-free study hall. At this time, we're planning to offer to our high school students 2 times a week that our high school students will be invited to our Virtual Pathways campus to meet their teachers face-to-face, study on their own if they just need a quiet environment and they're distracted at home, study with a friend, get face-to-face support from a teacher if they want, even just meet their teachers. For our elementary students, we're planning at this time to offer a study hall option 1 afternoon per week, and those would be separate from each other. So our elementary students would be invited with just other elementary students and high school students with just other high school students. Students in the virtual academy may be invited, or they can request to participate in small group support as well. That would be another way they can get live support from their assigned teachers online. So let's take a look at a sample schedule. This is an example schedule of a made-up junior that may participate in Virtual Academy. And this pretend junior student has an outside of school activity in the afternoons. You can see we've blocked that off in yellow. So this junior has an outside of school athletic practice that he participates in. He has to go to that on Mondays and Wednesdays from, it looks like, 2 o'clock on. On Friday, you see it is blocked out starting at noon because this junior needs to get out of town for a competition for the sport he participates in. So we can see that the coursework is allowing him flexibility. Because this student has so many afternoon things, you can see that for the live lessons, our live lessons are in green, and I've labeled it with an LL next to it in parentheses. Our live lessons, remember, they do 4 one week and 3 the next week in high school. This is week A. This student has 4 live lessons. I told you they're offered in the morning and the afternoon. This student has opted for all morning live lessons because they're busy in the afternoon. So this student on Tuesday has an English live lesson. They can either log in from home online or even come up to our study hall and participate. On Wednesday, this student has a Spanish live lesson and a health live lesson. And then on Thursday, a US history AP live lesson. You can see the rest of the week is filled with completing coursework, making sure they're putting that in. On Wednesday at 1 o'clock in red or pink, you can see that this student participates in a school-sponsored club esports team. So maybe that'll be one of the creative ideas that our teachers have to help our students interact. Don't worry, I'm going to go on to the next example, but don't worry, all of these exact schedules are found on our website, and I'll show you where to find those in a little bit if you want to look at this in more detail. These are not set in stone. These are just examples of how a student might order their day. Okay, so this would be week B. If week A for that junior student, this is the same student, had 4 live lessons. Week B, this student only has 3 live lessons. So this is their other 3 classes. Now, I do need to say this. If I go back a day, you can see on this day, on week B, they have an Algebra 2 live lesson. Does that mean on this week they do nothing for Algebra 2? Absolutely not. They're going to have coursework every day for Algebra 2. It just isn't a live lesson, except for once every other week for our fully virtual Academy students. So here in week B, for that same sample junior student, they were invited to a small group in purple. And so maybe they needed a little bit of extra support on a concept in English. The student attended a small group. The student attended 3 live lessons. This week, they didn't go out of town, but you can see at the end of Friday, it says, make sure all coursework for the week is completed and submitted. And if that student got everything turned in, then they had a little extra time to meet a friend for an outside hobby. All right, looking at that 2-week cycle for our high school students that are in the fully virtual academy, our student had 7 live lessons total over the 2 weeks. All of those happen to occur on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday mornings for this student, but afternoons will still be offered. Small group, this student participated in 2 small group sessions. One was a math session, one was an English session. This student decided to participate in 2 hours of study hall, but study hall was offered for many hours both weeks, as you saw on the schedule. And then this student participated in the esports team on Wednesday at 1 to be a part of that social event. You can see we're really trying to build in lots of ways for our students to stay connected, to be social, and to be a part of our Virtual Pathways community. All right, now for our 4th and 5th grade students. Their schedule is very different than our high school students because this schedule is more developmentally appropriate for our younger learners. You can see this is a sample schedule for 4th or 5th grade student. Their schedules will be similar, and you'll notice it is not an A week and a B week, and that they log on live every day of the week. So on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, our elementary students are going to be live in the morning for about an hour and a half. If you look at Monday from 9 to 10:30, this example schedule has the student taking their math and science live lesson with their math and science teacher. That's kind of in dark gold. Underneath that is a lighter gold, and you can see that this teacher is going to teach the main live lesson and then send the student off to work independently on what they just taught. So the student may turn off their computer and work independently. But it also says the teacher may meet with small groups during that time too. So the teacher may say to a couple students, hey, hang back a minute. I want to make sure you understand this concept before you work on your own. Then the student gets a lunch break. They may have a class meeting or school-sponsored clubs and activities. Then from 12:30 to 2, they have their PM live lesson every day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. This is their English language arts and reading lesson with their English language arts and reading teacher, who is going to give the bulk of the content to them live, make sure they understand, send them off to work on their own, and then pull some small groups. You can see that on Wednesday of this schedule in purple, we have the optional elementary study hall that'll be in person. That day may change. We'll make sure to communicate with our virtual academy parents, but this is a sample schedule of what we're hoping to be able to do. You'll notice that Friday is very different. There's not as many dark gold sections. We don't have required live lessons on Friday. It has that word asynchronous several times. So there's going to be asynchronous work for students to complete, but you'll see things like zap the zeros. That's if a teacher notices this student has a lot of zeros in, they're going to invite those students to find out, why is it a 0? Do you not understand? What do I need to do to help you get this turned in? There's also interventions and small groups listed. So the teacher might pull students who they notice throughout the week are struggling for an extra help session. And then at the very end of the day, Friday, you'll notice we have optional student or staff. It's student and staff in-person social event. We are planning to have these once a month for elementary and once a month from high school. These could be something like bring your favorite board game to our campus and we'll play together, or meet us at the park. We want to make sure we're building that community, not just with our study habits, although those are important, but with having fun with our students and getting to know them as well.
Thank you. Dr. Akers shared a little bit about Flex Learning before, so we're going to review it and go over a schedule. So in Flex Learning, students will spend most of their day at their brick and mortar CFISD home campus, and will complete 1 to 2 classes online asynchronously. Remember, Flex courses include pre-recorded videos and assignments that students can complete at a time and place of their choosing. And just like Virtual Academy, students must log on daily for attendance purposes and meet all course deadlines. However, they can work ahead or catch up as needed depending on their schedules, as long as they log in daily and meet all deadlines and due dates. All right, so here is a sample schedule of a Cy-Fair High School junior. During the regular school hours, 1st through 5th period, she'll be at Cy-Fair High School completing 5 courses. Then she'll have lunch with her peers, and then she has a little over 20 minutes, let's say, in her schedule for a travel or transition. She heads to her job 3 days a week. That works in her schedule because it's so flexible. 2 days a week she has outside of school swim practice, dinner's in there, time for homework as well. And you'll see that 5 days a week, she does have her Flex coursework in green, because the whole idea behind Flex is that flexible learning.
We want your student to find success in the virtual learning environment. So we have some information, some tips, and some resources we want to share with you. Research tells us that students that are successful in online learning environments have self-discipline when working independently and with a team. This means you or their teacher don't have to tell them to keep on working. Students who are typically successful in an online program are very self-motivated to keep working and to move on to the next task to complete on their own. Students who find success in online programs often look for and find solutions to a problem or reach out to someone for help without being prompted. Think about what we've described. A lot of their work is on their own. So if they don't understand, students who are typically the most successful aren't afraid to ask for help. Students who are typically successful in online programs also frequently set goals and meet deadlines without reminders from others because, like I mentioned, they're doing a lot of their coursework on their own. There is no teacher physically in the room with them telling them what to do next. And very successful students in online programs treat their online classes with the same seriousness as in-person classes. And they also take responsibility for their own learning and their own time.
Students who are traditionally successful in online learning environments have a support team at home. So let's talk about that. All right, so parents, you will help your child succeed in virtual pathways if you provide a workstation at home for online learning with reliable internet access that's free of distractions, by checking Home Access Center regularly for attendance and grades, and encouraging your children to have academic integrity and appropriate online behavior. You are welcome to communicate with the Virtual Pathways staff if any needs arise because we are here to support you and your students. All right, so one way to support your student at home is to create a successful learning space. We said it previously, but it's worth repeating because a dedicated learning space helps your child get into a learning mindset when it's time for their schoolwork online. Set up a dedicated, quiet, and well-lit workspace free from non-school clutter. Because remember, this is school time. Use a desk, table, not a bed or a couch, because that signals that it's work time. We're going to minimize distractions, keep phones silent and out of reach, just like we do at all of our CFISD campuses, and close unnecessary browser tabs and block social media during class or study time.
We have even more resources available for you on our website. So if you go to virtual.cfisd.net, and once you're there, across the top of our website, we have this purple ribbon. And all the way to the right is the resources section. If you click on resources, you will see this list of resources. The first one says, is online learning right for me? This is a self-assessment that you could sit down and work through with your student. It asks questions just to help them think about what are their strengths that are going to be really helpful in an online learning environment, and what areas might you need to work on if this is a choice you guys make. Okay, setting goals or moving on to the next task is difficult for them. That's something you guys can know and work on together. It's just getting an idea of where are my child's skills right now and where can I help them grow. The next thing is the Technology Readiness Center. That just kind of helps you check if your internet speed is good and your child will be able to access their classes. And then we have Launching to Success, Essential Skills for the Virtual Student. So we went over several of those skills that are really essential or helpful to the typically successful student in online learning. And so that lists those and some of the research behind that if you'd like to see that as well. And then finally, we have a Parent Learning Coach Hub that tells you as the parent, what else can I do to help my student be successful as we launch into a virtual learning environment. Again, all those resources are found on our resources tab at virtual.cfisd.net. All right, next we want to ask, did you know that we share lots of frequently asked questions to our social media pages to get information out in multiple ways? Not only do we add answers to our frequently asked questions page on our website, but you can learn more about our program by following CFISD Virtual on Facebook, X, and Instagram. And here are just a few examples, and they may just answer a question that you were having right about now. So here's one. Did you know CFISD Virtual Pathways courses are taught by certified teachers delivering the same CFISD curriculum as on-campus classes? CFISD Virtual Pathways provides high-quality, rigorous instruction from educators trained in online teaching and course design.
Did you know Students who participate in virtual pathways keep their class rank with their home campus and graduate with their classmates from their home campus. So if your student currently attends any of the 12 high schools in CFIR ISD, they will still graduate with all of their peers.
That's so cool. They get to still walk the stage with Bridgeland High School or CFIR High School or whichever high school they attend. Did you know students retain access to participate in UIL and extracurricular activities at their school of residence when enrolled in CFISD Virtual Academy? This means even if they've chosen to be fully virtual with the Virtual Pathways team, they can still go face-to-face for band class and band practice or whatever UIL they are really interested in, even if that's a sport or a fine art.
Great communication skills are needed though, right? To communicate with your directors and coaches.
Absolutely.
All right, did you know? Our curriculum adapts to the students. Teachers regularly record responsive videos for each class, providing timely feedback based on the class's collective level of understanding. Students can reach out to the same teacher they saw in their class video to get tailored one-on-one support. As Dr. Akers mentioned earlier, our teachers are CFISD teachers, so when your student logs on and watches a little mini lesson, that's the same teacher that's grading that they'll reach out to, and if they make it to study hall, that's the same teacher that will be there. They are our CFISD teachers.
And that really sets our program apart because so many of the programs across the nation and across the state, they use maybe a video of one teacher, but then a different teacher is the one that's grading their work or answering their questions. So we're really excited for our students to have the same teacher that they're going to learn from be the one that they can ask questions to and the one that's grading their work. All right, so if you liked some of those tips and tricks, yes, they can be found on our FAQ page, our frequently asked question page, but you can also follow us on your preferred method, Instagram, X, or Facebook, and we will most likely, I'm sure we will, have some of the questions that we received tonight. We will absolutely post answers in our FAQ page, but we will also post answers on our social media sites as well. All right, so if you haven't already applied, I'm about to tell you how. If you have already applied, don't leave because we have a little bit more information for you as well. So how to apply. Current CFISD families interested in any of our virtual pathways should fill out the initial inquiry form at virtual.cfisd.net by February 16th. Parent permission forms are due to your campus counselor by February 20th. If your child hasn't brought home a parent permission form, or we're not sure if it was ever turned in, you're not sure, you didn't get a confirmation, you can reach out to your campus counselor, but you can also reach out to our team at Virtual Pathways by emailing us at virtualpathways@cfisd.net. Students that may be returning to CFIR, or maybe you live outside of CFISD, maybe you've been homeschooling, or you are at a charter school, a private school, a different virtual school, and you want to come back to CFIR, you're not currently enrolled, you may continue to enroll as space permits. If you've already completed that initial inquiry form, be sure you submit your parent permission form to us as soon as possible. If you're not sure where you are in the process, again, you are more than welcome to email us virtualpathways@cfisd.net. So if you have any questions, we shared this QR code at the beginning. If you will, scan this QR code and submit questions. I'm going to go past this, but I'll come right back to the QR code. I want to show you where you could find the answers. Our frequently asked questions page is located at virtual.cfisd.net. And once you get there, if you go to the About Virtual Pathways tab, you'll be able to click on Frequently Asked Questions. And there you will find so many questions. It keeps on scrolling down, and we continue to add them as we get questions that are frequent. And so we will go through your questions and add them here. If you don't see that, you can also email us. But again, here is that QR code for how to ask a question. We will add answers to our frequently asked questions page, as well as adding them to our social media. We'll try to get those answers out there for you. Thank you all so much for coming tonight, for participating. We really appreciate your interest. Please don't hesitate to reach out with questions here, or emailing us or calling us. We want to answer your questions so you know what the best decision is for your student. Thank you so much for your interest in Virtual Pathways. Have a good evening.